I'm Adrienne, your sex positive bestie, here for sexy talk, real stories, and tips that just hit. Ready to play? Let's go. Hey Cravers, full disclosure, I'm sick. Oh my God, I'm trying to fight it so hard. I'm like, you know what? No, if I just pretend it's not happening, it's not going to affect me. But I have a hell of a cough. I hope I don't have a coughing fit in the middle of this. And I apologize in advance for my scruffy voice. So this week, I am really excited because we're having a huge Masters watching party. This tradition started last year with Mr. Right. And people on social media, when I was sharing like the invitation that we sent and some decorations around the house, were like, Adrienne, like, when'd you get into golf? Like, what do you know about golf? Sorry, I have a cough drop in. The thing is, I started watching golf with my dad. And I started watching a lot of golf with my dad when he was sick. And it kind of became this, I don't know, like quiet time. Golf really helped calm him and me, especially when we were in hospice together and stuff. And my brother and my dad have always been huge golfers, and I've always liked the sport. And when I met Mr. Wright, he's a big golfer. And so I just kind of I've been his cart girl. And I've also picked up a few clubs every now and again. I played the Cradle when we went to Pinehurst, and I like the game. And it honestly just makes me feel really close to my dad. I wear all of my dad's t-shirts and his hats, and it's just become a thing. Well, last year for the Masters, we had a little party, and this year we're doing it big. I sent out invitations that are so funny. They have like Tiger Woods' mugshot on it. I know, poor Tiger. Like, oh my God, the guy. But, and I have all these decorations. I have, it says like, let's party. And then I have this letterboard that says Amen Corner. And I have this big Masters tournament flag. I also have this awesome flag I got on Amazon that has red Solo cups with a flag sticking out of it, or yellow Solo cups with a red flag sticking out of it. And it says plastered in like the Masters font. And it's just a lot of fun. And also Mr. Wright's family's going to come down. My brother's going to come over. We are doing a Rory McIlroy inspired menu based off the Masters dinner menu that he has this year. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. I have the best part about next weekend and what I am so fucking excited for is, okay, so last year my brother went to the Masters and he got, of course, tons of merch and spoiled Mr. Wright, which was awesome. But I don't know if you know about the infamous gnomes that the Masters Pro Shop has, or the store that makes $10 million an hour or whatever. Okay, so the gnomes are like elusive. You can only get them there. They're a hot commodity. People sell them for hundreds of dollars on the internet. And my brother has two of them. So when Mr. Wright and I were decorating the house, we were like, man, this mantle, it's really missing something. Like, we have like the letterboard that says Amen Corner. We have our Masters koozies. We have our Masters hat. We have decorations, dangling all over the fireplace and stuff. But I'm like, there's this one little corner, something's missing. And I said, it would look really good there? The gnome that my brother has. Now, his Masters bag has been sitting in the corner of his dining room for the last year. Okay. He has like Titleist balls and koozies and a polo in there. And he has a mini gnome and a large gnome. So last weekend we were going to my brother's club, country club, to play golf. And I told Mr. Wright, I said, okay, look, when we get in, one of us, we went to his house first. So one of us has to distract my brother. And then the other, we'll find the right time to go into the dining room, get the gnome. First of all, I wasn't sure it was in the dining room, but I thought that it was. Get the gnome and then somehow sneak it into the car without him knowing. And we're just going to, air quote, borrow it, right? And he was like, that's a great idea. So on Sunday morning, we're driving down there and I called my brother because I usually tell him when we're leaving, and he didn't respond. I'm like, So I texted him when we're halfway there and he still didn't respond. So I'm like, shit. We pull up to the house, knock on the door, no response. At this point, I'm not going to lie, I was getting a little nervous. Like, I was like, is he okay? Is something wrong? But I know the combination to his door. So I opened the door and I went inside and I yelled his name, no response. And I looked at Mr. Wright and I'm like, okay, I think he's sleeping, but I'm not 100% sure. But first, before we find out if my brother's alive, we got to get this gnome. Like, this is the perfect time. He's not here. He's not awake or whatever. And so we start hunting the house for it. So Mr. Wright goes downstairs. I go to the dining room, but I didn't see it. And I was like, I know it was in here. Lo and behold, it was behind his bag and it was covered with all these shafts and stuff in the corner. But I found it and I got it. I had 2 of them. I looked at Mr. Wright. I said, this little guy will look really good. Like, he'll fit perfectly. But this big guy, he's going to make a statement. And Mr. Wright was like, the big one. So he runs out to the car, puts it in the trunk, and we safely got the gnome in the trunk. And then I knocked on my brother's bedroom door. He was asleep. He woke up. He was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, bro. And what's funny is we were just so excited. Yes, because he's alive, but also because we got the fucking gnome. So we came home, put it on the mantle. And on Saturday, so we really wanted to have the watching party on Sunday, the last day, but it just worked out better for everyone, of course, on a Saturday. Not a school night. And so on Saturday, my brother's coming up and I am going to try to catch him when he sees the gnome on the mantle. And he's like, what? Did you get a gnome? Is that my gnome? And it's become this inside joke because I always go to my brother's house and he has, like, if you could see his house, he has probably 100 hats, like really exclusive, like Bandon Dunes and Tobacco Road and, Ireland and Sawgrass and all these like elusive golf places. My brother has played pretty much everywhere and he has great merch, like and the Pinehurst glasses, and I'm always like, can I take this? Can I borrow this? And so it's become this running joke. And I actually got a Masters hat that I really wanted to wear. And I said, hey, can I borrow this for the party? And he was like, yeah, you could borrow it. Little does he know, I'm borrowing the gnome as well. So anyways, it's just going to be absolutely hysterical. I'm going to try to catch it on video and I'll post it on my Instagram. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really, really looking forward to it. Oh gosh, I hope this cold goes away by then too. Okay, so this weekend, I posted a Q&A over on Instagram and I got so many great questions and I couldn't answer them all. And I thought, you know what? It's been a long time since I've done a Q&A episode, a sexual Q&A episode. And so I wrote down all of the questions and let's get right into them. There's some really, really good ones. And I feel bad because I did save them. I was like, I'm not going to post them on the story. I'm going to post them on the episode. But okay, here goes. What is the worst sex advice you've ever heard? I would say by far is we don't need protection or the pull-out method works. Like, do you know what they call people who use the pull-out method? Parents, right? And so that is probably the worst sex advice I've ever heard. Okay, is it normal to have a higher sex drive than your partner? I have talked about this for an entire episode. And yeah, and I think that it fluctuates too. It's funny. Mr. Wright came upstairs. I kind of had like a rough morning and I swear, I tell people all the time, I'm like, God, if I can just like speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth on my show, I would be so popular. But just remember, these are real lives and a lot of stuff is very personal, right? And I want to share it, but I have to keep things between me and him and in my relationship because it could affect people, right? But this morning I had to have a little conversation with Mr. Wright just on some things that I just kind of wasn't happy with. And I felt myself getting frustrated this morning. So we went for a walk with Humphrey and talked it out, of course. But I want to say it is normal. And I don't think there's really ever a time, maybe every now and again, you're both on the same page, but it fluctuates, right? Like, I'm not feeling good right now. He wasn't feeling good last week. There's times where I feel more needy. There's times where he feels like he wants more and I don't want more. Or, there's an ebb and flow. I've talked about it so many times on this episode. And I think the biggest thing is to realize that it is very normal and to think about how you can fix it with your partner. And the only people that are going to be able to fix it are each other, right? Like you have to talk about it with each other. And it was kind of like an awkward conversation this morning. But if I don't talk about it, it's going to build resentment and then we're going to have real serious issues. And so as hard as it was for me to express some of the things that I was like feeling, and I think a little bit too is I'm not feeling good. I'm being like a little bitch and I'm tired and, like life has been kicking my ass lately everywhere I go. And he and I have just not had the time that I wish we had this week. And so we communicated about it and everything's going to be better. And he's upstairs making me breakfast right now and got me beautiful flowers. And he's like, he treats me like a fucking queen. So then I feel guilty because I'm like, you have it so good, Adrienne, like shut the fuck up. But it's important. My thoughts and feelings and needs and wants are just as important as his. And so, next week he'd be having a conversation with me about things. But the key is that you talk about it. You talk about the hard stuff, because I swear to you, communication, I think, is the number one important thing that you can have in a relationship. I always say trust and, of course, sex, but really active and healthy communication is so huge. And I don't think it's talked about enough. I told him today, I was like, the fact that we can talk about these things and work through them, confidently together and also respectfully, very, very respectfully, that's huge. And so anyways, I think it's very normal to have different sex drives at all different types of times. And as long as you communicate through them, you're going to be all right. Okay. What's a myth about sex that you love debunking? For sure, hands down, especially with my experience in having HPV and getting a hysterectomy because of cervical cancer and all this stuff, is the fact that like if you have HPV or if you have an STI, that you're just dirty and gross and shunned forever. I really wish the stigma would go away, especially for HPV, because literally, if you have had sex with more than one person, or if your partner's had sex with more than one person, you have had HPV. There is so many different strains. You have been exposed to it and you probably have it and you probably passed it to another partner and then your immune system just kicked it out. But I wish the stigma would go away, especially for HPV and also herpes. Like so many people have it and they treat it and they don't give it to their partners. And I just wish there was less stigmatism over that. I also hate that people think if you have BV or you have some like your pH is thrown off down there. There could be a multitude of reasons why, but they'll say, oh, it's because you're not compatible with your partner. And that's like the furthest thing from the truth, by the way. So many things can throw that off. And yes, like a man's sperm can too, depending on the time of, the month, or, there's so many different aspects to it. And it's such a shameful and embarrassing thing. Even I was a little embarrassed. Like I remember being like, what is that smell? Is that me? And my gynecologist told me, Adrienne, you're just passing it back and forth with your partner. And so she wrote scripts for both of us. And like, there's so many things that you could do. And I personally, after having a hysterectomy, had so many bouts with it. And I felt like it was so frustrating to me. And I've talked about it on the show. I have finally found a remedy for it. And it's the PH brand boric acid suppositories. I was taking one after every time we had sex, and they work like a charm. They really, really do. But what I've been doing even more proactively now, and knock on wood, I have not had BV in so long. And I think it's a lot of things that I've been doing. So it's using the boric acid suppositories. It is also, PhD has this awesome cleansing wash, and I use it every time I'm in the shower. And I feel like that really just gets ahead of things. Also non-negotiable, and I don't care how tired I am or I don't give a fuck. I am going to the bathroom immediately after sex, and I try to get out as much as I can, if you will. It's important, right? Because I don't want my pH balance to be thrown off. And so those are two things. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but those are two things that I think should always be debunked when it comes to sex. Okay, your very best sex tip. I get this question all the time, and you guys know I love playing the game Just the Tip. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite segment on the show, and I need to do an episode soon with it. But I've said this a million times before. Enthusiasm, just showing enthusiasm, acting like you want to be there, right? And another one too is like when you are giving a blowjob to a guy, you want to make sure that it is wet. And it's going to make noise. And also to use your hand. You can literally use your hand with your mouth in synchronization, like you're synchronizing them, up and down, up and down. And every time they're going to climax. I know so many men that say, Mr. Wright was one of them. He's like, I really never have finished with just a blowjob before. And now, my God, I've given him hundreds of blowjobs now. But that's a big thing. And then guys, when you're going down there, remember that you have to warm the engine up. You can't just go jam it in there. And then remember remember, light touch, like seriously, light touch, and ask her what she likes. And just do not ever underestimate the power of the come here movement, right? So when you're like making out with her clit, because that's what you should be doing, nice and sensual and slowly making out with her clit, you are using your pointer finger and your middle finger and gently and slowly doing the come here movement inside to trigger that G-spot, right? So those are some things. And just having the enthusiasm. My God, I think I talked to you guys about like one of my exes who, when he would go down there, he would be like licking like a milk from a bowl. And I'm like, okay, like clearly you don't want to be there. Hang on, I got a cough. Okay, I press pause so I can spare you the details. Okay. What is so different about your relationship with Mr. Right? I think, and it's funny, whatever's like heavily on my mind or whatever I'm going through currently is kind of what I'm always thinking about when I do these episodes. And I think what is very different about my relationship with him is that I took the time to heal. And I also have changed a lot of my ways. I'm no longer codependent. I'm not needy. I'm so totally secure. I don't have like the anxious attachments anymore. And I really think the biggest thing for me and what I find so healthy in our relationship is our ability to communicate and really about the tough stuff, right? And that's something I've never done before. In fact, I told him today when we were talking, I said, in the past, I would not bring this up. In the past, I would just hide this and it would slowly I would distance myself like more and more and more. And then all of a sudden you're going to be blindsided because I'm breaking up with you. And I don't want that, right? I told him, I said, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And, he was like, same. And I'm like, so like we have to talk about these things, but that's something I never did in the past. I would say that's like the biggest differentiator. I hid so much in my past, like not wanting to share things because I was embarrassed or ashamed, or I felt like I just didn't want to bring it up. It's not worth the argument. And that has definitely been the biggest change and difference in my relationship with Mr. Right. Okay, Adrian, I can't climax during sex. Please help. Girlfriend, you're not alone. Most of us, I'm speaking mostly for myself, I guess, here, because I don't know. And I have so many friends in the lifestyle who, Mia, I've watched her climax so many times and I'm so jealous. I'm like, how do you get there so many times? It's different for everyone, right? But I'm going to share with you, I don't climax every time. And to be really real, I need toys majority of the time. I think a lot of that has to do with my past and the fact that I've, used toys for so long. And that's probably been a little bit of an issue for me, but it's not every time, but as long as I'm having, the intimacy and the connection and the fun of sex with my partner, I'm never ever disappointed. And there's no shame in breaking out a toy. Like Mr. Right and I do all the time. I told you how much I love my wand from tracysdog.com. If you don't have one of those, go to their website, tracysdog.com, use code CRAVERS20 and you'll get 20% off of your entire order there. And also I love their Surreal Bullet Vibe. She's light. She doesn't make any noise yet packs a powerful punch. Those are great toys to introduce to the bedroom with your partner. And so I just want to say, like, you're not alone. And like to the women who can climax from penetration, I hate you. It's so not fair. So it's very normal. I would say more often than not, women are not finishing. That's Humphrey. If you hear him, he's running around the studio right now. Okay. Next question. At 50, is it too late to explore my sexuality? Absolutely, positively not. Get out there and let your freak flag fly. Learn about different sexual kinks and interests and events. Go attend some of those. Meet a group. Put yourself out there. Listen, it's never too late to explore. It's never too late to go out there and seek and find what you want. So I'm excited for you and get out there and do it. 50? No, you're still young. Please. I'm thinking like maybe 75. I'll be like, all right, Adrian, it's probably time to put the backpack for Dora away. And, like you've done it all. Let's hope. Okay. How do I ask for what I want without it being awkward? It's funny because even like this morning when we went on the walk and I knew I was like, hey, and I hate, oh my God, I don't even want to say it. Like, we need to talk. I hate that. But it will be awkward. There's nothing you can do about it. And guess what? growth is awkward. And speaking shows your confidence. And to me, that's really hot. So just ask, right? And it's okay if it's awkward. That's showing that you're growing and you're reaching out to get what you want. There's nothing to be ashamed of or afraid of or feeling like it's awkward. Like, who gives a fuck, right? What's awkward to me is continuing on without sharing with your partner how you're thinking or feeling, and then expecting different result or thinking things are going to get better, right? So that to me is worse. So let it be awkward. Who cares? Okay. Is it normal to feel embarrassed during sex? I'm going to say no, right? Like, there's so much that goes on. Who cares? Like, noises, you're naked in front of someone and you're doing cardio. Like, let's be honest here, right? And I've told you guys the story before about how I farted. Oh my God. Like, I farted in Youngblood's face. Yeah, that happened. It was so embarrassing. And I was like, oh my God, but you know what I did? I said, sorry about that. Got a little too excited. And we both laughed about it because you know what? Shit happens, right? And that might happen too, right? Like, you might have a muddy path if you're doing some backdoor shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I think it's definitely normal to sometimes be like, oh my gosh, but as long as you can laugh about it, right? That's when that's, I don't know. To me, I think sex should be so fun. Like, and I love that. So make it funny, make it fun. I will tell you though, the one time I did feel really embarrassed, so embarrassed, and it was kind of hard to ever resolve, was I told you my micropeen story. So when I was in college, there was this guy, I was so crazy about him. I was like, oh my God, he's this big dude, big muscles, brown hair, blue eyes. Oh my God, he was so hot. And finally, he was like, hey, meet me, find me in the bedroom, whatever. And I go in there and we're making out passionately, and he's so sexy and he's such a big man on top of me. It feels so good. And he's like moving. And I said to him, is it in yet? And he was like, yeah. And yeah, that was probably a moment where I was so embarrassed and I thought I was going to die. So, my God, I don't know how to make that story any less embarrassing, but it's totally normal to feel embarrassed and just make the most of it. Laugh, high five after. Like I said, I was like, sorry about that. I'm sorry for that little fart in your face. I think even the next time he went down, I was like, I promise I'm not going to fart. And he was like, you sure? I'm like, I promise. Okay. How do I bring up fantasies that I've never shared before with my partner? I've told you guys one of my favorite things to do is to create a fantasy list, and you can share a note on your phone or you can put it in an email with each other, whatever medium works for you. But it's a great way to not have to have that like verbal talk, and you can just like send messages to each other and add to the list. So for instance, I'm a huge fan of it, and Mr. Right and I track date ideas or kinks or something we want to try, or if we've seen we want to do, and we add it to the list. And what's cool is my phone will ping me and say, Mr. Right added or edited the note. And I'm like, ooh, what is that about? So I'm a huge, huge fan of that. Also on my website, midlifecraving.com, you can go on there and there's a sex questionnaire, and you can give it to your partner and say, I'm going to fill this out for me. You fill it out for you. Let's swap and trade and talk about it. Like, it's a great icebreaker for you. So bring it up, by the way, like, get your fantasies fulfilled. Oh, all right. Adrienne, I feel unsexy in bed. How do I get out of my head? I've been there. I've been there so many times before. And not until I found the lifestyle, honestly, did I really realize how nobody cares. I was embarrassed about like stretch marks I had on my belly from having a baby, and on my hips, and my tummy tuck scar. And when I was in these rooms, seeing all these people getting it on, and also the partners that I had at the time, not one, and I mean not a single look, like nothing in, like, I can't even tell you, like, not even a glimpse was like, oh my God, they're judging me, or oh my God, they saw my scar, or, oh wow, that looks like, no, they don't care. Like, they really don't care. They're so excited that they're with you and they're getting to have sex with you. Like, and so once I learned how much they don't care, and by the way, like that's like applies to everything in the world. Majority of the people that you think are thinking and caring about you, they're not. So you might as well do what you want to do and be happy with yourself anyway. And so that's really where I got. And I mean, I was at the point where I wouldn't even get on top because I'm like, no, I don't want him to see my jelly roll. Now I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you want this, you're going to get it. So just really try to embrace yourself and show yourself some love. And anytime you have those negative thoughts in your head, stop them. Like, have a mental stop sign. Like, stop talking to yourself like that. I like to think to myself, like, how would I feel if somebody was talking like that to my best friend? I would beat their ass, right? Like, our inner dialogue sometimes can be so mean. And so we have to stop that. Okay. Next question. What do you think is the most overrated thing about sex? This is hard. I'm going to say nothing if you're with the right person. I really do feel like nothing is overrated about it. It's connection and intimacy, and you just feel so close with your partner. I mean, I laugh and joke about it all the time about how, you can argue with me. We could be fighting. You can be on my last nerve. And if you fuck my brains out, everything's all good again. Right. Like, it's the kind of the solve to everything with me. But then at the same time, I think too, something that is overrated about sex, and I know this, I just said this and I'm going to contradict myself, but is that it fixes everything, because it definitely doesn't for a lot of people. I kind of am like that. I'm like, yes, I don't care what you do, just fuck me good and we'll be fine. But majority of the people are not like that in this world. And so you could have a great sex life, but life outside of the bedroom sucks. And so it's all about balance, right? Like, it's tough. I talk about balance. It was funny. I was at the country club and I was like, trying to cut back on my drinking. I'm not going to drink 3 days a week anymore. I'm only going to drink one, and then I'm like working out in the morning and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go get a beer, and because I earned it, but that's like working out for free. But I'm so sorry. I just had a cough again and I forgot what I was talking about. So you know what? We're just going to move on. This is ridiculous. Okay. What is your biggest turnoff in bed? So many things. No foreplay, not having fun, not making any noise. I can't tell you how many silent partners I've had. My God, no confidence, right? And I'm not talking about cockiness. I'm talking about confidence. The rough touch. There's nothing worse. I remember one time I had a partner who actually like cut my labia with his nail. And I was like, yo, like, this is too much. I'm not a big fan of too fast with penetration and finishing quick. I mean, every now and again, great, cool. But just not a fan of like that, like pound town really quick. And then also no kissing. Like, I'm a huge fan of like the kissing, or even when doggy style, you're kissing my, neck or my shoulder or whatever. And I think my biggest turn off in bed is probably when you're doing it to me, not with me. Like, that's a huge thing, right? That's something I won't tolerate anymore. And so, yeah, I would say those are my biggest turnoffs. I kind of want to ask you guys that. What are your turnoffs? I wish I could sit here and talk to all of you and have this back and forth. That'd be great. Okay. Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it? Yeah, I would say like muscles, right? And actually, after I had my hysterectomy, I was super nervous about having sex, and I kind of didn't want to have sex because it was painful for the first few months. And my doctor literally told me, Adrienne, use it or lose it. Right. Like, and so exercise it, right? Like, get in there, and it helps with a lot of different things. And so I'm a big fan of using it, or you're going to lose it. And another question I had was, again, about, do you finish every time? And no, I don't. I think that's normal. Like, it just takes me a long time, and I'm not going to sit here and I wish I was one of those like quick, easy climaxers. But it takes time, and sometimes we don't have the time, but it doesn't mean I'm not having fun and I'm not satisfied. Majority of the time I want to finish, but not every time do I have to. Like, I love like a hot morning sesh or a quickie. Like, nothing is sexier or hotter to me, but you got to sprinkle in like the good sesh, like the 45-minute, like, oh my God, like that was amazing. Like, we exhausted ourselves. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm going to go because my throat is on fire, but I didn't want to miss this episode. And I want to talk about next week. We're all thinking it, or what all the things that we're thinking of sexually. So I'm going to be reaching out to you over on Instagram. I'll take a poll, I'll take ideas and questions, but I just want to know, what are we all thinking, but we're not talking about? Because I want to be the gal, your sex positive bestie who talks about it. I will see you guys next week.